So today, I wanted to make a completely different watching the world burn type of video. Because, you know, I've never ever thought that the death of the U.S. empire would happen so rapidly. But, you know, there's so much corruption in NATO, so much corruption in the United States government, the deep state, whatever. I mean, we just found out today that federal workers haven't even gone back to work, and they won't go back to work until May. They're still working from home due to the COVID emergency that's still declared. I mean, just every day I find out incredibly stupid stuff. I mean, our government is just out of control, at least the federal government. Luckily, we still have 50 states. I've always preached for a convention of the states. But this is the Russian-Ukraine update channel on Rumble, the free speech channel. Now, I'm borrowing their material, and obviously I cannot ever monetize this video on YouTube because this is their content, not mine. And of course, my channel's not monetized anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I did kind of want to go around the horn and just talk between these videos. Now, being in war, you know, if you're on the losing side, or your propaganda machine is working to the max, the last thing that you want are your soldiers talking to the people at home. So like in 2003, when we were fighting Iraq, I actually could send emails back home because we were winning the war. Now, I imagine if we had started losing that war, the censorship would have come up, much like you see in Ukraine. Their media is very much controlled by the government, and the people in that nation hear very little about what's going on. But so this is a sure sign right here. I wanted you to watch this video for just a second. This is a sure sign that the Russians feel very confident about their position because they're allowing their soldiers to talk freely to the citizens back home.
Закрыта связь, поэтому учитывая разрешение. Еще раз здравствуйте. Женщины, дети, губернатор Новосибирской области, Кравников Андрей Александрович, ваши корабли слышать, какие есть вопросы, чувствуете ли поддержку?
Да, я вот ждем, соскучились очень по тебе.
Kind of puts a human side on things, doesn't it? Yeah, see, when you're at war, you're kissing the people back home, saying hi. Oh, show me the baby. Oh, I love you, baby. I love you. Oh, come back home. We love you. Yes. So that was the first video that I wanted you to watch. Coming down. This is this is kind of interesting. Now, I'm not sure. This is supposed to be a depiction of the conscription that's taking place on the Ukrainian streets in other places of the country so that they can grab up people that have no military experience and send them to the front lines. I won't play this whole clip. It's 3 minutes and 45 seconds long. But I do think it does illustrate a little bit about what might be taking place. I'm not going to say 100% because this is, well, I'm not sure. I mean, I think this is a Russian channel. So let's watch just a little bit of this one.
Я снимаю на видео.
Снимай! Предоставьтесь!
Дай.
Ви виправилися до нього перші! Ви говорите Росію безпорядок, а ви прийдіть до своїх громадянинів!
Boo, calm down.
Ви зупиняєте!
Boo. Dog's going crazy. Come here, Boo. Come on. Well, I wasn't going to play the whole clip, but I got to grab the dog. Come on, Boo. Be quiet. Come on. Stay. Be quiet. All right, like I said, I'm not going to play that whole video. Sorry about the dog. You know, we've seen him in many videos. So let's get into some numbers in between the next video. Let me get to, I'll get that one up where I wanted you to see. I thought this was interesting, so we'll get that one next. So anyway, the Russian war machine, you know, you have to look back in history. What was amazing was during World War II, you know, Russia actually, they picked up their industries and moved them so that the Germans couldn't find them. I mean, it was, you'd have to read all of those stories, but their manufacturing base was just incredible. Now, one of the things that I think, you know, I'm not for state-run anything. I always believe in private or capitalist free markets. But as far as the Russian war machine goes, it's really part of the state, which actually saves them a ton of money because, see, you know, when you've got Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman or Raytheon, I mean, they're out to rip off the American people in any way they can, your military-industrial complex. They are not necessarily about churning out huge amount of weapons and everything. They're out for a profit. Their executives make tons and tons and tons of money, and then they kick back that money to the politicians in Washington, D.C. So, and of course, that went on in the Soviet Union to a certain degree, I'm sure. But right now, I don't believe that's really happening in Russia. I think that their military-industrial complex is all about winning this war, and so every dollar that goes in is not funding Russian oligarchs or getting kicked back into, well, Putin is certainly rich, don't get me wrong, I mean, but it's not getting kicked back in huge amounts to Russian politicians. It's really going into their weapon systems, and we're seeing that in the numbers. So the Labrith sniper rifles, they've increased the production on those by an amazing amount. I didn't get the actual numbers on that, just by multifold. Anti-tank weapons have increased by 5-fold since the beginning of the war. This is a startling, amazing statistic here. Every cruise missile that they launch can be replaced in 1 week. And so we know each week they're launching between 20 to 25 to 80 to 90. So those numbers could be 80 to 300 being built every week in the war effort. And that doesn't even take into account what they had in stock before the war, which I imagine was a plentiful supply. So let's get the next video. Here you go. This is just training. Now, this is where grabbing people off the street like Ukraine is doing, sending them to the front lines, it's a suicide mission. These troops, right now, Russia has 500,000 troops massed on the outskirts of Ukraine, and this is what they're doing. They're training every day. It takes a lot of skill with these weapons. Look at this. Now, could you just like grab that off the shelf and use it? Let's look downrange. Boom. Let's see if he hits the target. Look at this. All right, so that was the next one. Now, I wanted to show you what war is really like. Let's get into, so let's see. Yeah, I talked about, I'm going back through my notes here. You know, one of the things that, you know, our idiot leader, I don't know where these people came from. They're in charge of the European countries, and especially in the deep state or the Biden administration. It seems like they just don't know a damn thing about history. I mean, the Russian military industry never went away. You were never, ever in a million years going to take on Russia. And I'm going to get into how we've poked the bear, and this is going to get much, much worse in the future. But I wanted to do this. This is kind of a heartwarming moment because, you know, when you're in war, as I have been, you know, sometimes you just kind of try to have like a normal moment, you know. In Vietnam, a lot of those guys were smoking pot and drinking, and you do need that type of thing. You need to let the steam off a bit. And that's why a lot of guys during the Iraq War lost their minds, because the command, especially when we were in Kuwait, they wouldn't let the guys drink and blow off steam, you know, have some knockdown, drag out fights, you know, and that type of thing. That's kind of what you need. But no, they said that everybody had to act a certain way, and so you just basically took all the fun, you know, out of fighting the war, whereas the British, they were over there partying it up when I was over there. I mean, the British knew how to fight a war. But anyway, let's get this. I thought this was very interesting. This is on the front lines, down in a bunker. They just wanted to come together and have some fun and make some music. This is what you do during war. You just chill out. So that was the next video. So I wanted to get into one more little factoid before we watch the last, let's watch this one first. This is only 33 seconds. So this is a good propaganda video, and this is where you're not seeing anything out of Ukraine or produced by even NATO or the U.S. government, you know, to fire up the Ukrainians. At least, I mean, we're not seeing them here in the United States that I've seen, but check this out. I thought this was amazing. All right, so, oh, by the way, this is, you might want to turn, if you got any kids, or if you've got a squeamish stomach, unfortunately, when I was over in Iraq, we had to watch these videos because we were trying to see the effects of our munitions on enemy positions. I watched a lot of buildings being blown up, you know, but it's one thing to hear numbers and, you know, 500,000 Ukrainians dead, you know, we blew up a building, blah, blah, blah. But this is the reality of war. If you got kids, cover their eyes. You don't want to watch this. Well, 3 seconds left. So that's the reality of war. Hope you know what the warmongering Democrats have done. They're killing Ukrainians, mercenaries, well, American soldiers now. You know, it's and it's going to get much worse. So let me finish off. We'll get the last video. Well, this, you know, I'll show this one. I wasn't going to show this one, but I thought this was because this would be me. I mean, I don't want to laugh, but I mean, I'm going to tell you, you know, this is what fear is in a war situation, because I'm going to tell you, this was a cool video. I was like, holy moly, this would be me if I'm fighting a battle, because you want to live, man.
My foxhole ain't big enough. Yes, no.
Notice he's speaking English on the Ukrainian side, huh? What about that? Does that mean that we have mercenaries over there? I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, that would be me. I don't want to call myself a coward, but I do want to live. I'd be digging that hole as fast as I possibly could. So let's get down to the last video. Now, I wanted to point out one last thing in this video is that what we've done by poking the bear is Russia is far outproducing NATO and the United States in shells, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, ammo, airplanes. Their industrial capacity is it isn't just slightly in advance of what we can produce now. It's ramping up to basically it's a World War II footing. And so why do you think they need this much hardware? And why do they think they need this much? Because they basically activated all of their old factories from World War II on a massive scale. It's incredible to watch this all happen. So I honestly think that they feel that they're going to be well, they are fighting NATO in Ukraine. But I mean, if Poland comes across, which I talked about yesterday with all of their, well, I mean, and by the way, I misspoke in the video yesterday. I was saying that Ukrainian officers and military were resigning, which they probably are, but I have no evidence of that. But I do have evidence that the Polish military officers and people are resigning from their military because they don't want to go fight in Russia and Ukraine. So that's what I meant to say was Poland is where those resignations are taking place, but that still doesn't mean anything. If Poland sends 150,000 troops across the border and Romania comes in with their army, so you can tell with these levels of production that Russia is ramped up to, they're preparing for a much bigger war. Now I hope we don't have to fight this. I highly encourage NATO, the lunatics, the devils of Davos, the Biden administration, the warmongering Democrats to come to their senses and realize that we need some sort of a peace negotiation. So that's just my opinion, but I just wanted to end with this video because this is great propaganda. But, at the same time, it could scare the hell out of you too. Oh, well, you know what? Here's one. Let's watch this one. I thought this was, never forget ads in America. So you got to remember Russia is a Greek or an Orthodox church, Christian nation. Okay. And so what they want to show is this is a propaganda video. You got to watch this. This is real quick, 33 seconds. Hold on. Russia doesn't believe in abortion as a Christian nation. So they're showing that this is what the West is all about to their people. And I imagine they're upset about this. This is what the Democrats are all about. All right, so let's get to the last little section here. Now this, I imagine this is from World War II, I guess. Maybe it was a propaganda video back then, and they resurrected it for the Ukraine war. But I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to play the full 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And, I mean, I guess back then, to me, it's not that great propaganda because this shows hordes of Russians getting killed. But anyway, the Russian White Army March.
И стоит и дремучий от Амура от реки, молчаливой грозной тучей в идут сибиряки, молчаливой грозной тучей в бой идут сибиряки. Их сурово воспитала молчаливая тайга, бури грозные Байкала и сибирские снега. Бури грозные Байкала.
Actually, this would have been World War I. Actually, that's wrong. I'm sorry, because of the horses.
Ни усталости, ни страха, бьется ночи,
Can't
бьется
doubt the bravery.
день. Только серая бабаха лишь воспитана бедней. Только серая бабаха лишь воспитана бедней. Знай Сибирь, лихие годы, в память славной старины. Честь великого народа отстоят твои сыны. Честь великого народа отстоят твои сыны. Свободная воскресет нашим героям говорят. Услышат эту песню стены древнего Кремля, и услышат эту песню стены древнего
Well, that's it for this video. Hope you found that educational. I'm pretty sure that was World War I. I was misspoke. But I just want to show you what you're up against. You know, these civilizations go back hundreds, if not thousands of years, with a long, proud history. Yeah, we beat down the Soviet Union, but Russia's back, baby. And NATO, they picked a war with the wrong people, in my opinion.